Today we're talking about 4 different types of filmmakers. Hey guys, it's Chase Craig and welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about 4 different types of filmmaker. And basically the different category of filmmaker. As in, if you're a filmmaker, you might be better at focusing on the script. You might be better at working with the actors. You might need a bunch of $1 million things because you don't know how to work with a low budget. And it might be the other way around. Maybe you might be really good at working with a low budget, but if you're giving $1 billion to work on a movie, it flops because you're not prepared for that magnitude. It all depends on you and your skill set. And a lot of times, this isn't really a definitive, I'm not saying it and then that's how it is. This is just kind of my opinion. And mostly I'm going to be referring to a site called makingthemovie.info. Mostly I'm going to be referring to a site called makingthemovie.info. I'll link it to the description below. It's not sponsored, but creating content takes time, and time is usually something I don't seem to have very much of. So I'm just going to be using something that someone else already wrote because it'll be easier. Start off this list with the type of filmmaker is the meticulous master. And in one word, Kubrick. Now, if you're not familiar with Stanley Kubrick's work, then crawl out of the cave that you are living in. Stanley Kubrick has pretty much influenced, I would say, every, if not most every film in our society. Every film that Kubrick has done has influenced every director in one way or another. Being meticulous when it comes to the story, the script, and the overall project, as in antagonizing an actor because you need to get the performance just right, or antagonizing actors to where having your actors read and read until they're exhausted, so that way they can have the exact exhaustion that two people are supposed to have in one specific moment. The meticulous master is pretty much a genius, I guess. and of course, just like any director, no filmmaker is perfect, and no film is perfect. And no matter how perfect we can craft it, there'll always be one problem that we can kind of pick away at. But the meticulous master is very good at creating something and then putting it to the side and letting it sit. And as long as this work is perfect, I can wait years before I make it. But the process needs to be perfect for the project to be perfect. And then going through the process in a definitive way that there's really no way to question it. And then every time you look at it, it keeps growing. It looks different. There's so much thought that goes into every detail that it almost blows your mind. And it's very easy to create conspiracy theories based off of them. It's very easy to create a second story, or to go and explore where they filmed and create your own story and want to be a director because of how perfect this work was. And another thing about a perfectionist is when they create a film that's perfect, it makes you think that it seems so easy but it's because the perfectionist never does anything, and they don't put out anything until it's perfect. They don't do anything, they don't put anything out until it's perfect. And then how that's received is easy. Then the second on the list is the prophilic pro. I think I said that wrong. Prophilic pro? Anyway. And this is often like the Spielberg type of director. Someone who can easily work with a low budget or a big budget. They can stretch political opinions. They can, although they never seem to. the type of director that has a passion for filmmaking and can just about stretch genres, and they can switch companies, they can switch budget sizes, they can switch out whatever it takes to keep making films. I've read this once, let me read it again. It's the type of director that believes in going big or going home. It's kind of, as in, I would say they are the kind of director that can't make a low-budget film. As in, if I strip away the big cameras, if I strip away all the money, if I strip away all your resources, this type of director would be, they wouldn't be able to make anything, because they wouldn't know how to work on a digital camera. They wouldn't know how to shoot anything, but they're very good at telling other people what to do. And there's a difference between the artist who can do whatever it takes to, there's a difference between the artist who can do whatever it takes to make films, and the person who isn't really an artist, but they get credited with all the work that they didn't do. On this list is the irrepressible entertainer. I got the last one wrong. This is more of the Steven Spielberg type of director. The last one was more of a Werner Herzog type of director. The irrepressible entertainer. I got that wrong, but I'm going to cut it out anyway, so never mind. The type of director that's only focus is making a good story. The fifth on the list is the movie geek first, as in the Quentin Tarantino type of directors, the kind of director that can absorb every movie ever made and spit it out in different, unique ways. Now, what I get from this list is I don't think it's a very good list. I think if you are wanting to know the 5 different types of directors, I guess D4 Darius made a better list. It's the visionary type of director that's a visionary type of director that sees their entire project before their eyes. They can see big things, and they need this much money, and they need this many actors, and a type of director that it would be very difficult to make something on a low budget for them, because they're visionary. They can't think about business, they can't think about the tax incentives, they can't think about any other stuff. It's just telling that good story. Then there's the type of actor that is a writer-director, which is the type of director that's very a writer-director is someone who's very intent on their own material, a script that they've written, something they care about, and something they're not going to let the actors play with. But then the director that's used to working with actors a lot, they let them improv a little more. For me, I tend to kind of do a little of both. I write my own scripts, but then again, I always let my actors improv as much as possible, until it gets to a point where the script is solid, and I won't let them improv as much, just whenever needed. When it comes to the whole visionary thing, I think that's just an excuse. Nowadays, there's really no reason for any director to say, I need this much money, I need this many actors. No, you don't. It's already been proven you don't. But there's a whole system on how Hollywood has kind of built up, where superhero movies come out, and they come out more and more and more, and then Spielberg films get bigger and bigger and bigger, and before you know it, the only films you see in theaters are the type of films no one seems to want to watch, and then even those start to get worse, and then people stop going to theaters, and then theaters start to close down, and then my heart starts to break. Kind of how I feel about that whole mess. So anyway, you guys like this? So that's kind of how I feel about this whole mess. So be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments below, hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.